Word. Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilmember Fruin,
Here.
Councilmember Lohand, here. Councilmember Wong, here. Vice Mayor Chow, here. Mayor Moore.
Here. So we are conducting the City Council training. Our item 1 is City Council training. Madam City Mayor, will you please start the recommended action?
Yes. Thank you. Good morning and congratulations again to our newly appointed mayor and vice mayor. This session is meant to be a brief refresher of our policies and an opportunity to align on how we collectively support Cupertino's governance and day-to-day operations. So there's nothing new that's being introduced today. You've heard all of this before. It's just a quick way for all of us to stay on the same page as we move into a busy year. Next slide. So you'll hear briefly from each of the department leaders on the areas that are most relevant to council's work. Our goal is to keep things high level today and useful as we discuss governance relationships, key policies, and important operational reminders. Slide. And we would like to start by recognizing you as our full council team and the roles that each of you hold. As you can see here, as we move into the new year with the new mayor and vice mayor, staff will continue to serve this council diligently and to the best of our ability. Next slide. At a high level, my role as a city manager is to carry out your collective direction and make sure that the organization is aligned with it in all the areas, such as how we support commissions, how we manage the agendas, how we manage your priorities, and the city's strategic planning. This presentation will touch briefly on each of those pieces so you can see how they fit together behind the scenes to implement your direction. Okay. And this, again, is a simple reminder of the framework that protects both council and staff. Council, acting as a body, sets policy and direction, and staff, through the city manager, is responsible for carrying that out. Individual council members always have the right to information, and this structure helps us avoid any perception of undue influence and keeps everything transparent and consistent. Next. Our commissions and committees are advisory to council. They review issues and bring recommendations to you. You appoint commissioners and set the expectations through Council Procedures Manual and through the Commissioner's Handbook. Here's a snapshot of the city manager's office that supports the city and council's day-to-day. The CMO leadership, as you heard recently at a council meeting, it includes, of course, the city manager and the interim deputy city manager / city clerk. Try and change that soon. We are supported by the executive assistant, who is Serena, who also supports you administratively. I, as a city manager, I oversee citywide operations with all of the department heads and the deputy city manager reporting to me. The deputy city manager oversees the divisions within the CMO that are listed here, and these include the clerk's office, managing agendas, PRAs, elections, all city records. This year alone, the clerk's office has completed over 300 PRAs, logged over 100 resolutions and 10 ordinances, and prepared 45 city council agendas. Economic development supports to strengthen Cupertino's economy by supporting business attraction, retention, and expansion. We recently launched the Business Resource Hub and support over 10,000 Business Connect subscribers. They've met with over 400 businesses. It's a small team, as you know. Communications engages with the community through clear, consistent, transparent citywide communication. As of this year, they produce the City Manager bi-weekly newsletter and scene completely in-house. They've also achieved nearly 3,000 new social media followers in just 2025. Emergency management, as you're aware, prepares and protects the city through coordinated emergency planning and disaster response. And this year, they have helped to revamp the existing EOC and engaged volunteers with 24 community events and prepared 40 emergency go bags through the city's Build a Kit program. There's also the administration division, which supports council and city operations, policy coordination, advances city's priorities, and they manage the work program, legislative affairs, department finance, contracts, and the city hall lobby. And this team here helps the city operate and is here to continue supporting not just the department, but other departments as well. Next slide. Here's a brief overview of the council and mayor's budget. So these funds are allocated for you to participate in events, trainings, and community activities. Staff will be ordering new business cards for the newly appointed mayor and vice mayor soon. And if you need any general office supplies for city business or city hall, just let us know. We can do that for you as well. A document with further details on your budget is included in the online folder that is being created and will be emailed to all of you following this session. Okay. Committee assignments are one of the ways that you extend your reach beyond the city. They allow council members to go deeper on specific topics and then bring that insight back to the full council. The procedures manual outlines how appointments work and the expectations for reporting. So this slide is just a reminder of that framework we have in place. Next slide. And as a reminder, the adopted work program for fiscal year 25-27 has 28 projects. These include the new items that we added on December 1st. We provide quarterly updates and maintain a dashboard online, as you've seen, so that you can track the progress and look at it at a glance. The second quarterly update is scheduled to be live on the dashboard towards the end of January, early February. And with that, I will now pass it over to Floyd for the really exciting stuff.
Good morning. Good morning, all. And so we'll be walking through some high-level rules, et cetera, that the council complies with throughout the year. We'll be looking at 3 different sections. One is the Rosenberg Rules of Order. We won't spend a lot of time there. This council's been together for a while. It feels like this council is really on top of the Rosenberg rules, and I very much appreciate that. We'll talk about conflict of interest at a high level and also the Brown Act. And then we'll also throw in the new SB 707, just some highlights from that new law. So Rosenberg's rules are, many cities use them. They're kind of a subset of Robert's Rules of Order, and they ensure that our meetings are fair, transparent, and efficient. One member speaks at a time. The mayor calls on the speakers and, basically controls the flow of the meeting and each item. Motions must be clear with a second. The majority decides. Tie votes fail. All members must present may participate and ask questions. Next, we'll go to motions. As you know, there are the basic motions where a motion is proposed, may be amended, or a substitute motion may be offered, and there can only be up to 3 motions on the floor, meaning once you get to the third motion, the council has to manage the third motion and then, work backwards to the first motion. There is a process for reconsidering. It's does require that somebody who was in the majority vote, bring that motion forward, that the motion be reconsidered. We can go to the next slide. Debate, the mayor's role during debate. The mayor has a very important role in terms of managing debate, and I think we can leave it at that. Thank you. So conflicts of interest. Members, conflicts of interest is a very broad area, and what I would like to do is describe conflicts of interest which the FPPC is engaged in. The FPPC has regulations that are very specific, and so when a council member believes they may have some kind of a financial connection to an action coming before the council, the best idea is to reach out to the city attorney. And because the rules are very specific, I'll do the research. It's not really a body of law that you could, fully master and just, cite off the top of your head. Research needs to be done into each of those. But a financial interest would be something like you have a stake in a company that the city is considering doing business with. very important that you bring it up to the city attorney so we can work through that. Others might be you own a piece of property that is within 500 or 1,000 feet of a development or other infrastructure being installed in the city. Basically, it comes down to, is there any way that you or your family member could benefit financially from a decision that the city is making? If it ever seems like you might have that kind of financial connection to a decision, that's the time to reach out to the city attorney's office. There's this other idea about conflicts that has to do with, personal conflicts. And generally speaking, from my perspective of the law, um, personal conflicts meaning you as an individual have a belief system that would cut in favor or against, let's say, a policy the city is adopting. Well, your public representatives elected by the electorate, and the electorate is uh, voting for you because of your state of mind, how you think about the world, your policy positions. And so the fact that you come into office with a viewpoint about a policy doesn't mean that you have a conflict with that policy. That's in fact perhaps why you were elected. Those personal viewpoints come into play when you're acting in a judicial role and a quasi judicial role where you're hearing an appeal, say, from the planning commission. In that instance, you can't come to the question with a bias as to how you're going to rule before you've had a chance to independently um, hear the evidence and decide how you want to rule at that time. So bias is important really only in that setting. So for instance, if you're a member of a nonprofit organization or a community organizing organization, that membership really does not create a conflict of interest when you are dealing with issues coming before the city and that you're going to be voting on. Financial interests are really the key here in terms of conflicts of interest. And in addition to that, you could potentially have property that might be impacted by, let's say, a new lighting system for a crosswalk. And the lighting system is going to shine directly in your living room window. And it's not going to shine in all the other people's living room windows. In that instance, you might also have a conflict of interest in that particular decision of the city. So that's yet kind of another, it's not really a financial interest, but it's a decision that would specifically affect you and your quality of life that the city's making. Okay, I'm going to move on from conflicts of interest there. There's also the Levine Act. I'm sure you've heard of it. It's been on the books for a while. It covers not so much your financial interest, but it covers campaign contributions. And it's basically in place to ensure that a council member isn't receiving a $500 or more campaign contribution from, say, a developer. And then the council member is going to be voting on that developer's project. This law specifically targets that. It's more nuanced and it may be something we want to dive more into, but the council's already been living with this rule, so probably understands it relatively well and, may not need further training. But recently the limits, they used to be $250. They were raised to $500.
Yeah, a quick question. So what happens in this case? Let's say a union gives you $1,000, but then you vote on their contract later in the year. Like, why is that not a conflict of interest? This happens all the time.
Well, I think that's a good question. I would need to dive into that. I mean, the union isn't a developer and you're not voting on the developer's
But
project.
we vote on their contracts and their salaries.
Yeah. I'm not sure if there's
It's a massive conflict.
I'm not sure if there's a exclusion for that, but I want to look into that. I don't want to opine on that today.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. But that's exactly the kind of thing we should be thinking about. Exactly. Okay, let's move on to the Brown Act. So the Brown Act is a body of law. It's been on the books for a long time. It's been revised over time, and we have a recent revision coming just in 2026 called it's SB 707. But the Brown Act is set up so that meetings are run open and transparent, and the public can participate in the process. It's basically meant to ensure that the council isn't separately and closed doors making decisions for the city that the voters don't know about. Agendas are posted in advance. Obviously, the public may attend and provide public comment. There is a separate procedure, a closed session procedure that we know about, and the Brown Act provides very specific direction on what can be heard in closed session. And generally, the items that can be heard in closed session are items that, if the public knew about while you were making the decisions, it would hurt the interests of the city. Like, for instance, a real estate contract. If you're negotiating a real estate contract in the public sphere, then the counterparty to the contract will hear the negotiation and they'll know exactly what they should offer for the property or require that you offer. So it really needs to be done in closed session. It's decisions like that that the council hears in closed session. So let's get to SB 707. SB 707, we've had some issues with our teleconferencing, with our Zoom when we're doing our meetings. I don't think we're the only public entity that is having those issues, which is why SB 707, I think partially was why it was passed. The new law provides procedures for restoring in the event of a broadcast disruption. So we have to follow those procedures. It also provides for, if the Zoom goes down, it provides for a 1 hour period where the city scrambles to try to get the Zoom up and running. And if after the 1 hour period, we're not able to get it up and running, the council can take a roll call vote, confirm that a good faith effort has been made to restore the Zoom, and make the finding that the public interest in continuing the meeting outweighs the remote access. So it allows for a way where we can continue to do business after a 1 hour set remote period, after a 1 hour recess while we try to get the Zoom up and running. It also requires that council members who are participating remotely provide a legal basis in the record at the beginning of the meeting. I'm not going to go through all of the changes, just the ones that I think are sort of most relevant to us. It requires that any population that 20% or more of the city's population as a primary language is something other than English. That language, our agendas need to be translated into that language, and we're working on different ways to make that translation happen. I think our initial idea is to hire a professional translator for a month or so, maybe 3 months, and then also use AI and take a look at how those two translations function. And if the AI seems to be, nearly as good as the expensive professional translation, then we might consider going with AI, but that will be a new expense and one that we
Question for you. We had a former mayor that was camping out in Taiwan at the time, taking meetings. Then, because 20% of the population that's sitting there, like in the country, that would you translate to that, or is it 20% of the population? Let's say, like, council member Fruin was sitting in Italy for a call. I was sitting in Sweden. We have to translate to those languages?
I don't think so. I think it's going to be this.
It's for the residents of the city. Okay, I just want to make sure. Just demo in the city. Okay,
Yeah.
make sure.
I really think it needs to be that. I don't have the exact language of the new law in front of me, but I can't imagine that the former would be the case.
So I have some question for the earlier items I was saving to the last, but then I'll just comment on
Okay.
So I think we heard at the breakfast of mayors meeting, Sunnyvale just adopted an AI system that can translate to 60 different languages. And I've been thinking that we really should provide transcript of all the meetings. That technology is there now. So why not just also providing written transcript? It's much easier for the public to search the content of the meeting. And we don't have to provide the summary. Anyone can get the transcript and ask AI to get the meeting summary also. So I think the Terry has something.
So YouTube for money fee will translate the languages now with caption.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The CCs will do it.
So do we need to provide that, or can we just need to provide a button? Here is instruction. How do you get it?
It's available. Maybe we can do a short outreach.
Mayor, we do have a tutorial. We do post it on the website where the agenda is located.
Oh, there you go.
And it points to the Zoom transcript. But I do think that's a good, I have thought about actually going ahead and providing the transcript and just posting that instead of requiring the public to take those steps. Now that we have that, we do have technology that has that would make that easier for the clerk's office to do that in a timely manner. That's definitely something we have in the works, like to think about.
So is the does SB 707 require live translation, or is it okay to get the transcript and then translate later?
SBO 707 only requires that the agenda
Oh,
be
yeah,
translated,
not
but
the
that doesn't mean you can't do more.
Oh, so when we post the agenda, we need to have the translated version.
Yes.
Exactly.
Oh, it's only for council meeting, not commission meeting.
And is it sufficient? A lot of website you have a switch, right? You can switch to another. That's usually, I think, automatically generated. Is that switch sufficient? Or you have to post it? I think we physically post multiple items. Are we required to physically post those?
Well, I think that if it's easy to physically post, we should, and it would be nice if we could actually do that switch online. But I think that has a lot to do with what technology we're able to acquire.
Because I think our space for posting is limited, right?
We'll just have to add links to different languages, but they're typically PDFs, right? Our agendas.
Oh, so we just need to add links in the.
No, we need to. I think we should post them on the. I mean, we're working through the details.
Yeah.
You'd have to think through. It would be for the website. It would likely be one file with several versions following.
Oh,
But I mean, we're constantly working with the vendor for improvements. But
online is okay. Because I remember the bulletin boards outside of the city hall.
physical bulletin board is limited with space allowances.
Oh.
But we could purchase more. But then we have one wall. So we'd have to
This kicks in June of 2026.
Yeah.
We need to figure that out.
I mean, we could start doing pieces of it earlier, but we need to be in full compliance by June.
Get one?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. The other thing that there's more, but the other kind of important thing is that all our advisory bodies also need to be able to open their meetings up via teleconferencing. And I think we're already in the process of have made that happen. So we're ahead of the curve on that one. So that is the highlights of SB 707. And let's see. We also have a new law, SB 827, that requires ethics and fiscal training. And this ethics training is for new officials. It must be completed within 6 months. And I think it also applies to the heads of the departments in the city, so city officials as well. And the training, it's a 2-hour training. The state is preparing training materials that people can review and take the training and take the test at home. It doesn't have to be an official meeting where we're walking through the training together. Mayor, the city is already complying with this requirement. So the all of the council members, the commissioners, and all of our department heads and managers are already have been required to take this training for a number of years. The clerk's already complying with the records requirement as well for 5 years in the city archives.
Could you remind us all through email how we're doing on our training for when we're
Yes.
due to get by? If it's around that time.
Yes, Mayor.
Yeah. So what training is this that we have done? in terms of
Ethics, AB 1, 2, 3, 4.
ethics.
Yeah. So
Oh,
yeah. So I misspoke. The fiscal there will be a fiscal training component. That will come through the HR office, and the clerk's office will not oversee that.
So the OG 1, 2, 3, 4 already
Yes.
satisfy these requirements. We will have a fiscal training. That's 2 hours. That's new.
Correct.
Every 2 years. That's for commissioners also.
It's for all city officials, including staff,
The
including
fiscal training is for
I think this has to do with the conflict of interest discussion. I think that will be included, and any other requirements around, also regarding the donations to campaigns that will be included. So those kinds of rules. So you'll get a 2-hour training on all the ways you need to be thinking about, finances, money, and the work that you're doing for the city.
Expense reports.
Expense
Anyone who
reports.
submits expense reports.
That too.
will that talk about like payroll and those I mean the just everything that's on the council agenda. Maybe the training should talk about all the investment treasurer's report, all of this report that we actually already are putting on the council agenda. Maybe all the commissioners should be aware of that.
So we'll be able to use the training that the state is preparing. If we want to add training to it, we can do that.
Okay, thank you.
Councilman, go ahead.
So the fiscal training is new
It is.
and it's not ready right now, and it's in the process of being prepared. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay, so we know before whatever June 2026.
Well, the requirement is every 2 years, and so this council needs to have completed it by January 1st of 2028. So we have a little bit of time.
I'm looking at the bill text, and it says local government officials and their senior staff are responsible for fiscal management of the jurisdictions they oversee, and the responsibilities include budget creation, monitoring, financial reporting, accounting, capital financing, and debt management, and purchasing and contracting practices.
That's for the staff.
That's for the staff.
But there probably would be
Actually,
no.
it says government officials and their senior staff. So we'll need to learn more about
Yes.
this.
Right. Fair enough. Yeah.
We should hear something about our fiduciary duty. There's a whole
Yeah.
spiel that they can.
Yes. Yeah. So this so it's good to know that we will be looking at debt financing, right? I think the one that we have been struggling, the cooperation that we didn't follow the process. But I'm curious though. This is another mandate on the city government. Who pushed for the bill? It's good to have these trainings, but is it someone who will be profiting from providing the trainings is pushing this through to require this kind of training?
Well, it would have come from our state legislators, but whether the legislators were being asked to produce this by other entities in the state, I'm sure that that's something one could find out. But it's our legislature that has been making obviously the votes.
I know a lot of the bills are not authored by the legislators. Okay.
Mayor, we still have quite a few slides to get through. We were
About the schedule.
I was going to request to withhold questions till the end, if that's possible.
Okay. All right. Okay. So, council, we're going to hold our questions.
And luckily that just earned of the city attorneys.
And what? Okay, that gets to the clerk's office. So the city clerk's office manages a comprehensive range of council-facing functions, from preparing council meeting agendas and supporting city council meetings. We attend the meetings and we transcribe the minutes and actions and all of the other follow-up. The city clerk also serves as the elections official and oversees the city's elections and any ballot measures that are brought forth. We also manage the city's records, and we provide responses for public records requests of city records that are requested from members of the public. We oversee training and compliance. So we regularly will be reminding you of your training requirements. That includes Form 700s, Form 460s for your campaign committees, and so forth. We also oversee all of the city's commissions, and we work with the commission liaisons as well. And finally, but very importantly, we serve as the liaison for council staff and the public. So the council agenda setting is a very big part of the city clerk's office process, and it involves the setup for the council meetings and the follow-up of the council meetings. So council has various types of meetings: the regular meetings, which are regularly scheduled during the year, as well as any special meetings that might occur, such as the need for a closed session to discuss litigation matters. The future agenda setting is based on council member requests for items that would appear on the agenda. Staff follows up on these items, and we track them through a long-range calendar, which is known as the agenda forecast. Lost my place there for a second. So once we have identified the items that are going to be appearing on the agenda, the departments will prepare those reports. They'll go through substantial review process and routing, and then they'll be added to the agenda. The mayor and city manager do set the final agenda items. We have many meetings to determine what's going to stay on the agenda and what's going to be pushed to a later meeting. Once we've determined the final order of the agenda, then the staff will meet and finally we'll publish the agenda. After the agenda has been published, that will involve prep sessions with the council and various staff. There are supplemental materials that may be provided at a later date, and that is to clarify questions from council, to provide any staff updates that are necessary. So those will be posted separately from the agenda, but included with all of the meeting materials for the meeting. And we do have a schedule for these supplemental reports. So this includes a supplemental report and for a desk item. A supplemental report is for any staff updates that happen, or if council members have questions, this is to be provided the day before the meeting, which is typically a Monday because meetings are on Tuesdays. Anything requested before 12 will be provided by 5 o'clock on that day. Desk items, which are for staff updates or council member questions that happen on the day of the meeting, those will be posted by the end of the day and provided at the dais in a printed version. And then anything that's submitted too late to be included, posted to the city's website or provided in printed copy would be provided as a verbal report by staff during the meeting. So this is just some city council meeting data, since the clerk's office does spend a majority of time working on the council meetings. And starting in 2015, we had 32 meetings. Just a reminder, the council has a set regular meeting schedule for 24 meetings annually. And in 2025, we're sitting at around 44 meetings. So there was a spike around 2021, 2022, and we think that could be related to COVID. So that has tapered off. We're leveling around 44 meetings in the last couple of years. Also, Public Records Act requests, they are trending up. So from 2013 and 2014, we were receiving around 49 requests, and we're now averaging around 339. There was a spike around 2022, 2021 around COVID. And of note, the requests that are being received are much more complex. They're generally requesting server search of email requests, so which requires a lot of time to review and redact. Just fun fact, the clerk's office has processed over 2 million pages this year alone for records requests. It was about 1.5 million last year, so it's definitely trending upward. And I just want to review, because we have a general municipal election on November 3rd of next year for 3 council seats. I just want to provide some guidance on participation in political activities. The city does have a policy and it follows state law. The main rule is don't use public funds to support or oppose a candidate and or a ballot measure. So city resources are included as public funds, which could include anything from using a city computer or a copier or printing paper, asking an employee to help with a ballot measure or so forth during work hours. So these are the main don'ts. This is just a subset, but I wanted to provide you with a few. So do not use city funds, time, facilities, equipment, or staff for campaigns. Do not send, receive campaign emails on city accounts or computers. Place campaign materials on city property. Direct staff to do campaign work during work hours. Urge employees to vote for a candidate or measure. Attend fundraisers using city funds. Or solicit campaign contributions from officials or employees unless it's a nominal incidental amount. You may have staff help on their personal time, contribute to or attend fundraisers with personal funds, campaign in public areas open to all viewpoints, adopt resolutions endorsing a measure or confirming no city funds were used. That is to say, the council can consider this at a meeting. Use city funds for ballot measure development or impartial analysis, or use your official title personally in campaign communications if no city resources are used. And that concludes my portion, and I will welcome Rochelle Sander, our Director of Parks and Recreation.
Good morning. All right. The Parks and Recreation Department is dedicated to creating opportunities, resources, and experiences that enrich the lives of our community, whether through recreation, education, or culture. We're passionate about helping people connect, grow, and thrive. Our department is made up of 5 divisions. The administration division, this team keeps everything running smoothly behind the scenes, from financial management and budgeting to policy development, marketing, training, agreements, and HR processes. Our community events, facilities, youth, and teen division. This division brings community spaces and celebrations to life. They manage the Quinlan Community Center, facility and picnic area rentals, and a variety of community events. They also support large cultural festivals and provide youth, teen, and adult enrichment programs. Our outdoor recreation division, this group cares for the Stevens Creek corridor, including McCullen Ranch Preserve, Blackberry Farm, and the Blackberry Farm Golf Course. They oversee the community gardens, aquatics programs, and promote nature education, wildlife preservation, and connecting residents to the outdoors in meaningful ways. Our senior wellness and recreation division, serving adults 50 plus, this division creates a welcoming senior center offering health and wellness programs, educational opportunities, social activities, travel excursions, volunteer programs, and more, supporting our active and healthy aging lifestyles. Our sports and fitness division, this team oversees the Cupertino Sports Center, athletic fields, dog off leash areas, and a variety of sports and fitness programs for all ages, from youth leagues and camps to adult sports and drop-in fitness. Across the department, we also serve as liaisons to 3 commissions: Parks and Recreation Commission, Library Commission, and Teen Commission, and 2 advisory boards, the Youth Activity and Senior Advisory Boards. We're proud to offer a wide range of volunteering opportunities, including over 100 senior center volunteers, our Leaders in Training Teen Summer Program, and our newest program, our REV program, which is Recreation Event Volunteers for teens looking to get involved in our events. In addition, our department leads major community initiatives, including the Artists Awards with the Arts Commission, our community funding with our Parks and Recreation Commission, and the Poet Laureate programs with our Library Commission. Slide, please. Oh. And of course, we coordinate some of the community's favorite events, from the beloved Pooch Plunge at Blackberry Farm to our magical Santa visits, where Santa and his elf bring holiday cheer directly to residents' homes. The Parks and Recreation Department currently oversees over 60 events a year. At the heart of everything, we do have our vision, which is to create a positive, healthy, and connected community. Thank you for your time, and thank you for being a part of what makes our community special.
Okay, and next, Ben Fu, our Community Development Director, will provide an overview for his department.
Good morning. Congratulations again to Mayor, Vice Mayor. It was a nice event last night. Good to see you all. So I feel like you guys are very well versed about what we do in our department, but hopefully it's just a nice refresher for you. So I'm going to read a quick blurb that we share with the public about community development departments. CDD is responsible for improving the quality of life, welfare, and economic opportunities by providing advanced planning, development review, compliance with building and zoning codes, permitting, inspection services, code enforcement, advancing the city's general plan and other citywide initiatives, and administration of programs related to affordable housing. On our page on the city's website has a lot more information. You can also find our department's mission statements and organizational values. Our department comprised of 4 major divisions. The planning division provides professional planning services to the community and implements city development policies, programs, and regulations. The primary responsibility for the planning division are to assist the community to plan and foresee future land uses and policies, and to review current development proposals for conformance with the city's adopted policies and ordinances. And mostly in planning, you will see 2 major functionalities: that's long-range planning, general plan, those kind of things, and current planning being the development permit reviews. The building division protects the health, safety, and welfare of the Cupertino residents, workers, and visitors by administering and enforcing the city's building codes and ordinances. We provide plan reviews, issue permits, conduct field inspections, and other public information services for new construction projects. And the biggest components of building is the management of the permit center that you see out here, plan review for all the permits that we get, and building inspection after permit review, permit approval. Code enforcement division provides housing. Housing division is responsible for administration of the city's affordable housing programs and services that serve low-income households. And the biggest projects that housing does is BMR, obviously with the BMR program, CDBG, a lot of state, federal funds. We deal with on-house and provide services to homeowners and renters. Code enforcement division provides code compliance functions that include, it's already up there, land use and zoning, building construction, safety issues, public nuisances, and parking enforcement. And I think that's self-explanatory. And then next, and we provide support to 3 commissions and a hearing body. So that's planning, housing, arts and culture, and administrative hearing. Administrative hearing process similar to like a variance. So you see some other cities for very minor adjustments to projects. Next slide, please. Activities and key projects. One thing I really want to highlight is this year so far through November, we received over 3,200 permits. And for the average of the last 5 years, it's been about 2,500. We see a slight upward trend since COVID. And I think that's due to the implementation of the housing element and all the projects that are coming in. So there's a lot of activities here in our city. With the collaboration and guidance from IT, we're exploring some AI software to assist with plan review. So hopefully we'll be able to, I don't want to use the word expedite, but fast track some of the reviews, because a lot of state mandate that requires cities to to review faster. 15 days, 30 days of different criteria. So we got to find different ways to comply. City work program guys, we just want to highlight a few that you may already been aware. Objective design standards, gone through planning commission a few times. Once I get to a nice place, we'll bring it back to council. I believe council has already gone through a study session on that as well. Streamline permit review process, part of the AI software I was talking about will assist with that. Arts in public and private places, that's going back to the housing, the Arts Commission, and finally preserve and develop BMR housing. And annually, we will bring some code updates. Muni codes needs a lot of refresher. Things are old, and it needs we need to look at the trends of the city. So we will bring some code updates to you when appropriate. And finally, last two items, just to highlight the housing element implementation for development projects. And I wanted to also mention that on the city's website, we have a web page specifically for major development projects, and you can look at residential as well as non-residential projects. So with that, thank you very much.
And next, Chad Mosley, our Director of Public Works, will provide an overview for his department.
Thank you, everybody. I think like Ben, you guys know what we do, but roughly Public Works is responsible for design, construction, and maintenance of public facilities. And that includes public streets, sidewalks, curbs and gutters, storm drains, city street trees, medians, streetlights, signs, public buildings, basically everything we own. Public Works Department is made up of 9 divisions. Our capital improvement program, they're the ones who design and construct our city facilities. Development Services works closely with community development, and they look at private developments with respect to how those private developments affect the public right-of-way and public facilities. Our Transportation Division maintains all of our traffic signals and ensures that traffic's moving throughout the city. They also have a wider planning vision, working with adjacent agencies to ensure that our projects are coordinating with theirs. Our environmental programs and sustainability division basically manages our solid waste contracts, and that's with Recology as well as our landfills. And they also work closely to try and ensure that our environmental footprint is reduced for the city. Our facilities and fleets division maintains all of our existing buildings and keeps our fleet running smoothly. Grounds division takes care of all of our city properties and parks. Streets and sidewalks division, again, keeps the streets running, our sidewalks in good condition, and also takes care of our storm drain system. Trees and right-of-way takes care of all of our city street trees as well as our park trees and keeps them in good shape. And then our administration division kind of is the glue that keeps us all together and keeps us on track. We do also have liaisons for 2 commissions. That is the Bicycle and Pedestrian Commission as well as the Sustainability Commission. Over the last year, we've had a number of projects completed. Of note, we did finish the LED transition project for all of our streetlights, which should bring the city somewhere around $100,000 a year in savings for electricity. A number of other items that were completed, including Jollyman all-inclusive playground. We have a lot of projects still in the works and that we'll be seeing over the next year or two. The Taming Inu East design, which we've been in the works for a long time. We just recently got approval from Valley Water to proceed with our concept. So that's a big step in getting to completion of the East. Let's go to the next slide. Oh, and at the bottom there, we'll also have the I-280 Wolf Interchange project that is currently out to bid. VTA is the manager of that project. They're expecting bids back Wednesday of next week. Keep your fingers crossed that we get good bids on that. If we do, that project will probably start middle of next year. Again, I've got projects. I've got pages and pages of projects. City Hall renovation project you guys will be hearing about on Tuesday. We have a number of bridge projects to keep our bridges in good shape. The Stevens Creek Bike Lanes Phase 2 project will be starting in January. And let's go to the next page. Just a lot of stuff that's going to be going on here. We do have the SV Hopper shuttle expansion, which will expand that program to the north, into northern Santa Clara. That's to begin in July of next year. This is just scratching the surface, and this is outside of our day-to-day operations of keeping things going on. We have a lot going on. If anybody has any questions, wants to talk about any project or all projects specifically, feel free to reach out to me. I'm always happy to meet with you and talk with you, give you a little more in-depth information on those projects. So that's what we do. Thank you.
Next, we have Christina Alfaro, our Director of Administrative Services.
Good morning, Mayor, Vice Mayor, council members. So CHAD is very much public works is an outward facing department where administrative services really ensures that we're providing all the tools necessary internally to keep our outward facing departments running. And with that, we'll go through some of the divisions that we have here. Our administrative division for admin services really helps support the department, keep our department internally running. This division is also responsible for the administration of the city's internal audit program, along with the fraud, waste, and abuse program. Our budget division is responsible for the analysis and reporting related to the city's budget, including but not limited to the proposed budget, final budget, and quarterly budget reports. Our budget document is a forward-looking document, making estimates for revenues and appropriations for the upcoming fiscal year, and also includes a 10-year financial forecast. For our finance division, we have a full-service finance division, which is responsible for financial reporting, most notably the city's annual comprehensive financial report, which differs from the budget as its focus is how the city ended the prior fiscal year. In addition, this division is responsible for ensuring our payroll is completed timely and accurately, our accounts payable, accounts receivable, and business licenses. In our HR division, which is also a full service, this division is responsible for employee relations, labor negotiations, risk management, benefit administration, citywide trainings, and recruitment. I think most council members got to meet some of our HR folks when you first onboarded with the city. Next is our purchasing division, and this is the department's newest division and serves as a single point of contact on procurement processes and then newly also grant reporting as well. The department supports the audit committee and also supports the Cupertino Public Facilities Corporation, which we'll talk about in just a moment, which is primarily responsible for issuing debt for the city. So we have some department activities. We generally have regular day-to-day or year-to-year items that we do, but some notable things that we will be working on is a budget format update, which will be a big undertaking. It started in this year. It will continue into the next couple fiscal years. Our internal audit program, which I think at this point we had 80 recommendations that have been implemented thus far since this started in 2021. We also talked a little bit about managing the So that's our internal audit program is really more on how to make operations more efficient, where our external audit process is really related to our financial reporting. For our kind of our newest purchasing division, we're still continuing to work on solicitation templates, updates, processes, and then continue to provide guidance to the departments to ensure we're in compliance with our policies. We also manage the negotiation of 2 memorandums of understanding, of which the council passed 2 new contracts earlier this calendar year. And with that, Public Facility Corporation. So a quick brief overview, but all council members are board members. The mayor serves as president. The vice mayor is the vice president. Our city clerk is the board secretary. We generally meet once per year, the 3rd Monday in November. We usually meet to give an update on where we are with the Public Facility Corps, any updates we need to give, or to meet to refinance any new debt or issue new debt. The last debt refinance was in 2020. It's non-callable, which means we can't refinance it early and take out new debt. It was about $2.6 million in an annual payment, and we currently have a June 2030 payoff date for that debt. Thank you.
Okay, and lastly, we have Tara Gerhardt, our Director of Information and Technology. Actually, yeah, I got your title on.
That's right.
The Chief Technology Officer.
Oh, information
Officer.
Okay. Well, good morning. The Innovation Technology Department delivers the city's technology strategy and ensures reliable, secure, and modern digital services for the community and city staff. We manage the city's infrastructure, cybersecurity, enterprise systems, data and GIS platforms, audiovisual and broadcast operations, and emerging technologies. Our mission is to enable efficient city operations, enhance public engagement, and support innovation across all departments of the city. The Innovation and Technology Department is made up of 5 divisions, as you see here. The Applications Division manages Cupertino's enterprise applications for citywide systems such as finance, permitting, plan review, parks and recreation. This division manages, configures, integrates, upgrades, and supports all of these systems to ensure departments have reliable, efficient tools for their daily operations. The GIS division handles the development and maintenance of Cupertino's georeferenced applications, including our 311 system, our asset management system, our disaster response tools, our dashboards and story maps. The division delivers spatial data, analytics, and mapping solutions to inform decision-making and enhance public engagement. Next is our infrastructure division. They manage all of the city's cybersecurity programs, our PC and server infrastructure, our wired and wireless networks, and end user help desk services. Then we have our video division, you all know pretty well. They manage our production, delivery, and support of our TV and radio and web-based video content for our council meetings, hybrid meetings, events, and community programming. Last, we have our administration division, which oversees our contracts, strategic planning, governance framework, and department policies. The IT department also does manage the Technology, Information, and Communications Commission. Next slide. So here's a quick overview of key technology initiatives currently underway across the city. So with infrastructure, we're implementing switch and firewall upgrades to modernize our secure city's network. We're strengthening our endpoint management and patch management to improve system reliability and reduce vulnerabilities. We're migrating our worm storage device to the cloud to ensure compliance, stability, and long-term sustainability. That's where we house all of our documents, our city records. Cybersecurity enhancements. So we continuously improve the city's cybersecurity environment through updated tools, monitoring best practices, expanding our cybersecurity training, including mandatory annual education for all staff, council, and commission members, providing targeted reactive training for individuals who fall victim to simulated phishing attempts to reinforce and secure those systems. And then our ERP replacement, which you guys know a lot about. So after a thorough evaluation, Tyler ERP emerged as the highest ranked ERP solution in our evaluation. We are now in the contract negotiation phase with that project, finalizing scope, timelines, and integration before bringing the agreement to council. Next, we have our data and AI initiatives. So earlier this year, we did implement an AI tool to automatically review building plans and check them against local codes, helping Cupertino speed up turnaround times and increase consistency and accuracy. Our external chatbot RFP has been published and is now out for vendor proposals. AI tools for PRA requests, processing, permitting, and staff reports generation are currently under evaluation. We have recently stood up an internal AI DevOps environment using Microsoft's Foundry and Microsoft's Fabric to support our AI internal development. And then we have our community focus enhancements. So as you all know, we are advancing our WCAG 2.1 ADA accessibility compliance across the city's website, mobile applications, enterprise systems, agenda management, and video content. So that deadline is April of 26. So that's a big lift that we're working on. Enhancing the public, we're currently enhancing the public permit portal with a more intuitive, user-friendly interface. We will soon be adding code enforcement permits to the Acela public portal to expand online self-service. And we are rolling out a new public-facing digital forms to streamline community access to city services. All right, last slide. We have a couple council technology reminders. First, city issued devices. So each council member is issued a city laptop and phone. Using these devices for city business is essential for maintaining legal compliance, protecting sensitive information, and ensuring professionalism and security of council operations. Technology use policy and cybersecurity training. So the technology use policy was reviewed by each council member during your onboarding. This is a lot of information. It's a very large document. So please, we're happy to do a refresher training on that anytime. Just let me know. All city business must be conducted on your city issued email accounts. So redirecting city email to personal accounts is not permitted, as it increases our security risks and may result in city business being conducted over personal email, creating legal, privacy, and record retention compromises and complications. Cybersecurity training is required on onboarding and annual for staff, council members, as we said, and additional training will be assigned as for anyone that fails the phishing attempts. So travel notification, very important. Please remember to notify infrastructure. Thank you, Wayne. You do a good job of that. Help desk at cupertino.org is the best way to reach us for any international travel so we can ensure your equipment and accounts remain secure. And then last item here is council dais operations. If you would like a refresher on using the dais technology, including individual voting controls, motion, second functions, and request to speak tools, please plan to arrive early. A few minutes early before a council meeting is really the best way. Our staff's there. We can give you a quick one-on-one reminder or refresher course. Thank you very much. That's it for INT.
Mayor, that concludes the presentation. And now would be a good time for questions.
Okay. Well, first I want to thank all the staff for providing this update. We didn't used to have the orientation like this, and I think it's really helpful. And I like seeing everybody all together for this. And with that, we'll open this up for any questions.
Hello. I have some questions. I can take the answer after this because I think we might have a hard spot at 10:50.
10:50.
Yeah.
Okay.
So first of all, thanks for all the presentation. I think I had emailed Tina earlier. Other cities I've seen that they have staff directory posted on the city website. So it's easy for the public to know who is working for what. And that would be nice. And in the past, I think we had during the orientation and organization chart with photos of each employee. I'm terrible with faces, so it's nice to see this is a person I've seen, and that person actually is part of the organization chart. That will be helpful. The other things, yeah, I can just. What is the MOU successor agreement? It's MOU for. No, and for what? The Just stay intentionally too, and there's like
Yeah, there's our with our Cupertino Employee Association and our operating years thing.
Oh, okay. So, thank you for that. Okay. So,
I can take it up individually. I'll take final.
sorry, one more, like, please. So, I'm happy to see that the 280 interchange project is moving forward. However, I don't think we have seen the design, and that design affect the workflow, the project emergency exit. So, I think we need more update on that.
I'll talk with BTA to see if we get to come in and present it. This BTA project that we try and
But it will affect our bike paths and our exit in and out of our project, right? So
it affects the bridge there and that energy. Yes.
yeah, so I think we should have being able to at least provide some comments to the design. And don't think we were given options.
The public was given opportunities to provide input to the project. As the interchange is technically outside of Cupertino's jurisdiction, we have no authority over it.
When were the public invited for comments?
I don't have all the states, but I think it might be listed.
And I think we, as a member of the public, were not notified.
There, so I think we can have.
I do wonder how would the public even know they are invited? The city did not help send out any notification to the public, right?
They can be noticed it on our webpage. Yeah.
We can follow.
Well, we did not send any mailers.
This was some time ago. It was years ago. So it may be that there's an argument that we weren't aware of this requirement for the emergency access when the design was being reviewed, and we had like the divergent diamond, and then
The funding was only specified in June. So you mean the design was done? They have not updated design. The funding was only solidified in June, right? The final donation from
Final portion of the
Apple.
funding, yeah. But the design's been in the works for years.
Years.
Yeah.
So there shouldn't we review the design? Are they open to potential modification of the design?
And at this point in time, the design's completed.
But there should be an opportunity to modification because the surroundings have changed.
We talk about this offline. If this is a project that's outside.
I know,
so it's
yeah.
way over.
But then we have an obligation to bring up any concern to make a request for changes. I don't think anything is set in stone.
okay, so that can be settled offline. How? Quick question from the city attorney. Do we open this up for public comment and questions at this time?
Orientation.
I don't think so.
But it's still an agendized item. So
Did we call for public comment in the beginning?
No, we would give the presentation first and then call for a public comments. How would they open it?
Just a quick question to CDD staff. Do we have criteria that we use for describing what constitutes a major project? Because there's nothing really on the website that seems to tell me what would be major and what isn't. And it ranges across a host of things. There's a 6-unit residential development on here. Granted, it's I think a builder's remedy project, so I can understand why maybe that one is there. But is there a particular size threshold it has to reach? Well, so we were thinking about that, but no. Because for us, a lot of projects, it's hard to just say this particular threshold is quote unquote major in terms of visibility. So pretty much everything that we receive so far has been designated as major because there's a lot of visibility to them. Yeah, we have been thinking about whether or not to create a checklist, but again, that some project may fall through because of that, and then but may have more visible components to it. So okay, thanks.
Okay, so as to the question of public comment.
Yes, we should do that.
Okay, so we're going to open up for public comment right now. Please keep it brief. I'd like the questions to be under 2 minutes if possible. Are there any speaker cards? Do we have those provided?
Mayor, I have not received any requests to speak.
So we're going
I'm
to
sorry, do I need to fill out a form?
No, you don't need to. It's not required. Would you like to speak?
For this item?
This item, suggesting
For the training item?
No, I'm sorry. That's one.
yeah. I'm confused. My apologies.
So we do have one hand raised.
I have one.
Okay, Cunningham, welcome. Mayor, is it 3 minutes? 2 minutes.
Anyway, good morning. My name is Connie Cunningham. I'm chair of the Housing Commission at this time. I'm speaking for myself only. I had half expected that there would be more details on the Brown Act. On the Brown Act about what were considered not. Let's see. The Brown Act is baseline, and that we want to increase what we have, like on agenda setting. Like somehow our agenda setting isn't robust enough in order to pass, some criticisms perhaps from outside. So I didn't see that, and I was just wondering why that hadn't happened. And then the other thing that I was wondering is that under the Brown Act, there are rules for meetings that are virtual and what you can and can't do. And I didn't see any coverage of that. And I was a little bit surprised that that did not happen. So I would hope that you might flesh that out in the coming weeks to advise all of us, especially our commissions also are allowed to travel virtually. And so we'd like to have a little more clarity on what is expected and what the parameters are. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Are there any further comments, questions? Okay, with that, the public comment period is ended. So, yes.
So would it be helpful maybe we have an info memo on refresher for Brown Act and all the updates? Yeah. And because I think this kind of question is better answered in writing that people can refer back to again and again. Yeah. I think it would be nice to. I think Brown Act is a very, very minimum requirement. It just require a clear description and short. But we have gone beyond that. Even the study session or action is not really required part of the Brown Act. The idea that you don't take action during study session is not a requirement of Brown Act. So I think people probably don't understand what actually is in the law and what we have been doing above and beyond. Yeah. So that might be helpful. And
Thank you. May we also have a slide deck from today's presentation?
Yes, Mayor, that will be posted.
Okay, with that, we're moving on to the action calendar. Item 2. Subject is to conduct the study session on the Mary Avenue project, including project history, project siting, the conditional transfer of city-owned property rights, affordability restrictions, and remaining steps prior to entitlement and closing on the project. And 2, consider appointing negotiator or negotiators for the possible transfer of certain rights to city-owned property in the form of a ground lease or a sale with the city's future right to repurchase, continued from December 2nd, 2025. The recommended action is 1, study session was completed on December 2nd, 2025. No further action to be taken. And 2, appoint the city manager and the interim city attorney as negotiators with the nonprofit Public Benefit Corporation, Charities Housing Development Corporation of Santa Clara County, the developer, regarding the possible transfer of property rights in the form of a ground lease or sale with the city's future right to repurchase. The public comments period for this item was conducted and closed on December 2nd, 2025. The public comment period remains closed such that no further public comment will be taken. Madam City Manager.
Excuse me. Interim city attorney, would you like to take this item forward on our behalf?
I'm happy to. On December 2nd, we presented the item and had robust discussion amongst the council and also entertained an extensive public comment period. And the council was, after that, in the midst of making a motion and making decisions about the appointment of negotiators. And so I would, and since this is a continuation of that meeting, it's appropriate for the council to continue from that point. And so, although we had motions on the floor at the time, I think it would be complicated to work from where we were. I suggest that we begin with the motion period now, with the new motion.
So to my recollection, Vice Mayor was making a motion and you were
Second.
presenting.
There was no second.
Correct. You making a motion.
Yeah.
And what was that motion?
Proving a negotiator.
Approve the negotiator. I think there was something else.
You were trying to add a residency portion into the.
You were trying to change the residence.
That motion did not have a second.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. What was the second item I had? I forgot. My computer didn't start.
Mayor, I don't understand the question to the Vice Mayor.
The motion I had, the proposed.
Oh, the motion you had on the table before.
Yeah. Do you have?
I would have to check my notes.
Yeah, we can just start from fresh.
I suggest how about we start with this? I'll offer a motion to approve the staff recommended action, which is presentations, and then we can move from there if there's a second.
More second, but I do have a question with regards to the staff recommended action. I recall there was a slide, and perhaps we can have that pulled up. There was a slide showing basically the wording of this item 2, but there were a number of items below it, like 4 items below it.
I have it in front of me. I can read it if you'd like.
Okay.
Sure. So it reads as provide direction on next steps, appoint negotiators to negotiate either 1, a disposition and development agreement with repurchase option, or 2, a long-term ground lease. Further direct staff to perfect surplus land act exemption, right-of-way vacation, and prepare entitlements for future council action. And finally, to maintain timeline to support a 2026 9% tax credit application.
So your motion is including all of
Yes.
that. Okay. And I'm seconding that. Do we have comments from the council?
Oh. So for the record, I think at this point, the environmental study or any of that reports have not been put on either of the study session we've had on this project. And the parking has been put in the info memo. However, it has not really been placed on the council agenda either. That personally, I still am vague. There was that very tiny chart in the staff presentation, but I still am very concerned about the parking. And so I continue to request for potential alternative configuration. So we won't reduce such a large amount of parking space. I was involved and approved the creation of the parcel, and at the time we did not have this Westport project approved, and then when we approved that, we had 2 levels of underground parking, and that situation has changed. And so I think Memorial Park parking was taken up by Senior Center. We really, even just the parking for Memorial Park is insufficient. And if we have any festivals, there is no overflow parking. And we having no certainty about even having the end ecology. And at some point, that might even be replaced by a transit center. That parking garage, we cannot count on that to be there forever for the lifetime of the apartment. So I would like to still see, I think I mentioned that in an email to the staff and then CC the vice mayor. I really appreciate, I think 99% of developers have always made good faith effort to adjust their project to resident concerns. For example, Westport, even though they removed underground parking, they still, after hearing the concern, try to make reconfiguration to create 20 extra spaces at Westport. But that's for the Westport residents. And the city has, to date, made no attempt to make any adjustment to create more parking space. I think as a city, we should set a standard on how we serve the residents, and refusing to do anything is, as a property owner of the project, it's not something Cupertino Council, I think we do this. So at this point, I'm still hoping we don't, and also that going forward, we voted to create the parcel, and I was very surprised to learn last time that a streamlined by right approval of the project will include the removal of parking on both east and west side of the street. That's a big surprise to me because I don't remember any council decision to remove the street parking. How can that be a part of a by right approval? I don't understand that, and I strongly object that. And so I found my motion from last time. The second bullet in the motion is consider potential requirement in the agreement to prioritize long-term Cupertino residents. Our point system now, if everyone have the same point, as long as you have been Cupertino resident for 3 months, for example. But we should prioritize the longer time you have been a Cupertino resident, then the year of residence should be used to break the tie on points. And for our Cupertino workers, the years of time working for the city should also be used to break the tie. So that was the second point I was trying to make. Yeah. Okay, so that's
City manager, is it possible that we can receive more of this information about the environmental documents as well? And is there, for this particular motion, is this the time to talk about prioritizing Cupertino residents in our BMR program or for this development? And there has been some suggestion from the public that the project be entirely for the developmentally disabled as well. Is that something that we could negotiate on?
I think,
Also-
yeah, thank you, Mayor, for the question. I think this is something that the council can, ask staff and the developer to consider. It's not part of the recommended motion at this time.
So there's the request. I would like to see if that could be considered.
Yes.
Yes. So it is also my understanding that the reason why the right of way was 94 feet was that there was some plan years ago that there would be an overpass for vehicles to go over the 280, and that's why it's so wide. So normally in a residential area, you're only going to have about 50 feet for your right of way. And for most of our residential streets, you don't have the on-street separate bike lane and all of that to extra width. So even with the 2 bike lanes, they're actually codified it's in our municipal code that you would have the 2-way bike lanes there. So it's actually increasing the safety in that area above and beyond a normal residential street within the city. Councilmember Blanc.
I just say we're putting the cart before the horse here. I think it's really important to consider the environmental actions and environmental interests that are there. I think we've got some traffic studies that have not been put in place either. We haven't had time to restrictions on the IDD. You're setting up a negotiation where we have no leverage in the negotiation. And I'm really concerned about how we do that. I'm also trying to understand why we can't get this down to 20 units, why we're still at 40 units and taking away the right-of-way area. I think that's, we haven't been transparent at all in this process. The designs continue to change. We're not sure what we're negotiating against. Every time we see a design, the design changes. Every time the public sees a design, it changes again. And this continues quite often. And I would say, Mr. Mahoney, this has been a bait and switch operation. I think the residents feel that. The reason the residents are out here in protest and have been out here in protest so many times is because they have been confused as well as to what they've seen or what we agreed to. If proper notification was set up in place, they would have been like, oh my God, this is great. Let's all do it. So just remember that. I mean, when we put a project like this and we bait and switch residents, they will be very upset, and that's why they're very upset. And I really feel like putting a negotiation before we have all the things in place, agreed to, having someone do the negotiations just to rush the project through, it's not what the residents want. So
Just quickly, I mean, we've been discussing this project for many years, so I don't think there's any bait and switch here. That just seems incredibly hyperbolic to me. One thing, though, that I do think, to the Vice Mayor's point, is there's a pre-existing condition here with regard to parking and festivals that I think is worth the city examining independently and are trying to solve, and that might be something that we address through the city work program in the future.
I think that's a good point with regards to the festivals, because one area has the restricted permit parking, and people don't want to go to the trouble of going across the street. I used to always park at the Inns of College and pay it was $2 or $3 before this school actually needs the money. So there is ample parking there. I don't see that the transit center is ever going to happen. And it sounds like they're also not going to be having the clinic because the funding's not there for it. But they do have ample parking there, and they have reduced the area impact because the Flint Center is no longer there. So you don't have that kind of overflow. The students are coming from online primarily. You've got like 12,000 taking classes online and not coming in person. It's about a little over 4,000 full-time student equivalents for the school. It's actually been decreasing. Councilmember Moon.
Sure. I wanted to point out that last time the city manager did say that there was a traffic study that had been prepared or completed. We haven't seen that as yet. So a big part of the traffic concerns that people have raised with relation to West Fort as well as to the Mary Avenue project, I think will be addressed in the traffic report that we will hopefully see soon.
Yes, I'll send all a council a link, but it's already posted on the project website. I'll send it out too.
And my other comment was today's action is fairly limited, and it's not, we are not deciding on the merits of or demerits of the details of the Mary Avenue project. And I think this is really the first step in a line of several other steps that will happen before the deal is concluded one way or the other.
So, for the record, we have created a puzzle a few years ago. However, the very first time way of seeing the project proposed for the site was July of this year. And in that meeting, there was no other information provided on parking or environment or anything. So the idea that this has been years in the works, we've been working on years to try and create that, yes, but the details only just come out. And then but I do think the developer, they have had 3 public community meetings, and it's already above and beyond what other developers would do. But still, in terms of from the council's point of view, um, I have not seen a full picture yet. And last time, the staff also uh, said that the fiber optic line will have to be moved, and then the developer will be taking on the cost of moving that line. But since this is a city project, likely this cost will then become a city cost. We might have to be funding that cost. So how much would that be? I would like to get some idea. And then we have heard also that environmental cleanup has to be done before the project, and the developer will pay for it, but likely that will then become a city responsibility. So I would like to know how much of the cost for that cleanup too. Um, that we are still not clear. So, and then I think the residents have asked, promised to have in the agreement to provide them permitted parking for the area. At least they are thinking about what happens if it's approved, what they would like to request. Okay, so now we can look into it. Once the project is approved, what we can do to minimize the impact to the neighborhood. So should we consider in the agreement that if the neighborhood requests permitted parking will be provided for the area. This is why I'm not comfortable with the staff's recommendation. Um, I would like to leave study session a study session where I think the staff has heard from all of us that you will address these concerns and requests accordingly. And therefore, I would like to offer substitute motion, which includes just one action item, which is appoint the city manager and the interim city attorney as negotiator. And then the rest, I will trust the staff to take input from the entire council and address those public concerns.
So we have a substitute motion. Madam City Clerk, will you please conduct the roll call vote?
Just for, excuse me, just for clarification, are you changing the SAP?
I'm leaving it open. I'm leaving it open. I'm not saying yes or no because there are still questions.
So where does that end? Appoint the city manager and interim city attorney as
So-
negotiators, period?
We do move forward with the negotiation. We will talk about what's in the agreement or not in the agreement. Yeah.
That's
And I
guess I don't support the substitute motion.
Yeah. And I think this does not prevent the developers from submitting the application for the deadline for text ready. I do support that they move forward with that. But in terms of project, there are still many open questions.
May I make a comment? The tax credit application requires that the developer have control of the property. And so the other items that were suggested in the recommended action, I would say most of them need to be completed for that application to have the weight that it needs to be funded by the federal government. So I just want to put that out there.
do want to comment on the permit parking. These are older developments, and I used to live on Parkwood Drive. So these are older developments which were held under the fire parking standards. So there is not an overflow requirement or need, I should say, because nowadays you can underpark things, which we're seeing the problems of. So I think the permit parking, cross that bridge when we get to it. We already said that about the issue with prioritizing Cupertino residents, and perhaps we can clarify that and restate that the environmental cleanup, fiber optic, and other infrastructure relocation is to be the cost of the developer. Really clarify that. And so, yes, Councilman Law.
I also, in that, in the negotiations and the conversations, I would also like to understand why the builder, the developer, approached Westport and purchased the land next to it for a garden, if that truly is for a garden use or if it's for expansion purposes. So I believe someone in this room probably would approach them and ask for that. I want to make sure that there's no other additional uses that are going on with that property. You guys don't know anything about it, but apparently someone approached Westport about the area next to it to be used as a garden plot. The question is, I want to understand why that had occurred.
I suggested that. Yeah. The reason why, if you look at the way the site is designed, they basically walled themselves off with a structure so that they can't hardly even get to that place. And it's like bare dirt now.
Yep.
And if they can provide some open space there, but it would be a negotiation that they would do with Westport.
What does that mean to be set as a garden or as an expansion? Okay, just curious.
I don't. If it's a gift of the space where they're allowing people on, that would be a negotiation that they would be doing. But the intention is to
developers, yes.
yeah.
Talking about city space.
No.
It's Westport.
So as you get,
It's trying to favor building more units. That was
the idea is for
and if it's stayed as a garden. So.
and for someone to maintain it too.
So I think as a garden, that would be a good idea. Like I said last night, assume positive intent, not assume the worst. But since we have the developer here, I wonder if the mayor, we can ask the public have requested why these questions, why can we reduce it to 20 units, and why can we have 40 IDB units, which will be my preference. So could we ask them?
That part of this agendized item.
I think as the mayor, you are allowed, you can, if you want to ask questions. That's not that's your decision.
Is there a member of the developer team that would like to address those two questions?
I'd be glad to address.
And by the way, I recall being at a Rotary meeting back in, so probably the only was there, I think it was 2019, 2020. You had plans for this there. Yeah, so it has been in the works. You had architectural drawings of this.
Yeah, and we will send you messages to address every and all issues that we heard. So as far as the ones I've heard tonight, if it was 5 units, it would have the same issues, basically, because the issue is the width. I mean, you can't squeeze them any more than you squeeze. You need that just to put the project. So the number of units is there. The IDD thing, we have an answer to. Legally, we couldn't make it all IBB because of stupid questions. The garden thing, we don't want it to be a garden. We just want it to be landscaped. And working with them, should have done with the project. Parking, we had answers to every one of the issues that's been traffic study, lots of issues that involved. We've had to address that when we get to that. These issues about the actual PDA, etc.
Vice Mayor.
So
Yeah.
just to clarify, so 20 units will not possible financially.
Yeah, and it wouldn't help in the partner stuff particularly because you can't. It's not like, okay, I've got 40 units now. I'm going to get 20 hours.
You can do like 4 stories so that you can process this. There is no way.
So again, we have an answer to or we have evaluated the other parking things that I was supposed to send a memo about last night, but I was in San Francisco. So we will get those answers to the entire.
Do you think it's all very informative? So the extra space you are requesting, just want to clarify, is never going to be used to add additional units.
No, and nor are we almost, as it turned out when we started looking at it, you don't want any activity there that we would be responsible for. So we're going to ask Royo to landscape it like they should have done it.
Oh, okay.
We need to.
I'm gonna call the question.
Okay, so as you know, I don't support the substitute motion. We have the substitute motion on the floor. Madam City Clerk, will you please conduct a roll call vote?
Councilmember Fruin,
No.
Councilmember Mohan,
No.
Councilmember Wong,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Chow,
I
Mayor Moore.
No.
The motion fails with Wong and Chow voting no. Yes.
So now on the question, we're voting on the main motion.
can we ask firstly about the long-term residents?
I've called the question.
I would like to offer a friendly amendment to
I've called the question. Under the procedures, we have to do the vote.
then we have to vote on the call to question.
No.
No.
She's
There.
chair can call the question unilaterally.
Then I can object to that.
Yes.
Yeah. So I object to the call to question, and we should vote on the call to question. I would like the opportunity to offer a friendly amendment so that we have certainty that the
City attorney, what's the process now?
The process is to move to a vote.
Okay, you move to a vote on your
call to
challenge to
question.
calling a question.
right.
Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Fruin,
No.
Councilmember Mohan,
No.
Councilmember Wong.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Chow,
I
Mayor Moore.
No.
The motion fails with Wong and Chow voting yes.
So now the question's been called. We go back to the main motion. Madam City Clerk, will you please conduct the roll call vote?
Councilmember Fruin.
Aye.
Councilmember Mohan.
Aye.
Councilmember Wong.
cannot. Oh, sorry.
Vice Mayor Chow.
I cannot support the motion as is because I think it's really important we include. If we are voting on something that's from the study session, I would like to include some of the things that we have requested to the staff to add clarity, but I wasn't allowed to do that to offer friendly amendment. So I will have to vote no on this item.
Let's put that in the record.
Mayor Moore.
Aye.
The motion carries with Wong and Chow voting no.
Please include my comment in the
In the record.
Noted. Yes.
Thank you. And with that, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you.